Utkarsh, are we good to go?
Yeah. So sorry for the glitch, guys. And I believe we can start now. Over to you, Devki and Asis.
Awesome. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining in. So sorry about the hold up. I'm Devki, an experienced designer and your host for this session. Today just got interesting as this is the very first collaboration of Designboat, which is a UI UX school here in Bangalore, and ADPList. So on behalf of everyone in Designboat, thanks to the amazing ADP community for making this happen. So a little more about this session. If you're someone like me who gets lost in research and the sea of creative work, you'd know that the recipe for a dream job worthy portfolio is something that never stays constant. There isn't quite a rule book per se, but certain things are a definite no and some a sure shot yes. We have Asis Panda as our speaker today to talk about just that. He is the director of design for Nova Benefits, which is an employee health benefits platform in India. He is also the former design lead at Ola and is here to talk about the silent commentary that goes on in the minds of hiring managers, which we on the other end don't get to hear. So thanks a lot for joining in today, Ashish. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. It's an absolute pleasure. When I signed up for this, I had no idea this was the first ADP design board collaboration. So yeah, it's like double the cherry on the cake.
Yeah, you're a very first speaker, so thanks for that.
My pleasure.
So just before we get to it, I thought it would be interesting to start off with a little rapid fire round just to warm up. So are you game for it?
Oh, me? Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Okay, awesome. So first question, work from home or work at office?
Office, personal choice. Yeah.
That's interesting. Startups or tech giants?
Oh, startup all the way. Yeah,
Awesome.
my journey shows for it.
Okay. 9 to 6 job or entrepreneurship? I think the previous question
Actually,
answers.
there's something in the middle, which is all. Yes, it's something in the middle. Yeah, not 9 to 5, not entrepreneurship, but yeah, something in the middle. I'll talk about it.
Can't wait. Technical skills or soft skills, since you're
Ooh,
the hiring manager?
great one. Soft skills, 80%.
Oh,
I would say.
okay, right. And everyday challenge of a designer.
Everyday challenge of a designer. Selling. I think storytelling and selling the design to stakeholders.
Okay. I hope in this session we hear a little more about how to nail the story selling aspect as well. Story selling.
It's there.
As a creative, what are the 3 items you cannot live without?
This will be a very fitting in moment, but internet, Mac, and good health, because without it I can't think. So yeah, these 3.
Awesome. And the last question is your favorite project till date and why?
Yeah, this is a big one. Probably, yeah, it is the healthline.com's mobile apps. The why can be a very long speech by itself, but long story short, that was the first time where I got a taste of genuine, meaningful design work, where the design work that I was putting out along with the team was helping people have better lives. I used to walk into the office and see the app store feedback, or say like email feedbacks, and they were like, this app is literally helping me live another day. So yeah, that was the best.
That sounds amazing. I think this has impacted health. Apps in the health sector are something that impact lives in a very direct way. So I think that's amazing. So that's the last question. Thanks a lot for being
that was fun. That was really, really fun. There should be more designer games like this. Probably rapid fire. We should do it with everyone, I guess.
Yeah, that would be great. So guys, it would be great if you can switch on cameras if you're comfortable. It would make the session super interactive. And can't wait for you to spill this beans, Ashish. You take it forward. Over to
Yep,
you.
my pleasure. Thank you so much, Devki, and the team. So yeah, welcome to the session, everyone. Few, I would say, starting points. Let's just all relax. I mean, just like feel free to switch on your cameras. And I'm saying cameras again, point that nobody cares, believe me. That's a good segue into the next one, which is this presentation might offend someone, may not. I hope it doesn't. But what I can promise is maybe shayad thoda to maza aayega. So after all, it's a Saturday evening. If it's not fun, we should not be here. So yeah, with that, let me start. And feel free to react using Zooms, raising hand, emojis, and whatnot. This will be a very, very interactive session. So get ready for it. Get ready to unmute yourself, speak out, go on mute, unmute. With that, let's start. Let's understand what goes behind the scenes of design hiring. And I think the timing of this presentation couldn't be right, because I think I'm just coming off a set of LinkedIn posts which went out as rants almost. And but having said that, this session is not about the rants, probably, but it is definitely about some things that I have noticed in my journey that I have benefited from, and I'm seeing a pattern that great candidates are leveraging, and that ends up helping hiring managers pick design candidates faster and easier, I would say. So yeah, with that, let's get started. Devki, feel free to go off mute and stop me if there is any issue or if my audio doesn't work or any tech issues. So that let's start. Yeah, that's me. I should have probably stayed here for a while. Little bit about me very quickly. This session is not about me, but I lead design at I head design at Nova Benefits. It's a employee benefits platform. I'll save the details as to what Nova Benefits is. Just Google collective health, and what they were doing back in 2013. They have since not been doing well. Well, we are doing the same in India and in a much better way, and we have some interesting plans. So I'm coming out of a very small stint at Ola. It's a design community, you would know why, but very interesting time there. Before that, I was at Haptic. There was a very interesting gap between Haptic and Healthline.com, which is where I actually created a physical, like a company, and through that, we were solving a problem, and that was my experience at building a physical product and doing product design in its true sense. But yeah, that's my journey. That's the website, asispanda.com. Feel free to check it out. I haven't touched it since 5 years, so I hope it's still in a good shape. But with that, let's dive in and let's start with a game, actually. Tell me 2 products that you think are well designed. This can be name of products, this can be name of company, this can be anything that you get that hits your mind and is associated with good design. So feel free to go off mute randomly, and yeah.
Apple.
Okay, interesting. Yes, let's go.
Figma.
Yeah.
Yep, sure.
I don't know if you have ever heard about like used it. If you know Vicks inhaler, when we have like that thing, so that's super cool. Like I'm using it today, so I came across the experience part of it. It has a keychain to it, and you can like unscrew it, use it, and without like touching that spot, it has
really absolutely
UX. Yeah.
Totally makes sense. Let's hear some. Yeah.
We have Notion. I think I love Notion, absolutely.
Yeah, same here. I'm going to randomly pick some folks' names, and feel free to please go off mute. Radhika, how about you? Riddhi, Sham, what do you guys think?
Note.
Interesting. And 2 each, by the way. So yeah, let's hear some more interesting ones. Some things that others have not heard ever.
I like Swiggy and Notion.
Cool. Yeah.
When you're speaking about products, is it only digital products? Can you speak out physical as well?
It can be anything under the sun.
I think this might be a bit offensive, but I think cigarettes are well designed because they're addictive. I mean, for a good
Yeah,
product,
anything
has to have-
addictive is, I think, by its very nature has a head start with good design. But yeah, cigarettes are actually very ergonomic. You cannot, like, if I just do this, you cannot not help but imagine that. I would love to have a mention. Actually, this is a wallet. It's called Secret. It's a Netherlands company. I think it's a pretty well designed thing. Yeah, cool. With that, let's hear about say 2 products which are not well designed. No one's going to get behind you for saying this. Yeah, please pull your mic.
SBI's banking app, it sucks.
Yes, I can feel the pain.
No, every Indian government website is badly designed.
I guess any Indian bank's website, apps doesn't work properly.
Maybe HDFC application as well.
I kind
Yeah,
of feel the
totally.
ATM app is also not.
I want to give a very bad example, but have you ever had kappa noodles and they give you a spoon, plastic spoon, and whenever you try
Yes.
to eat with it, it just bends, and I hate that.
Yes. Oh God, really? Yes, that's hitting the nail really hard. Awesome. Anyone else? I see a friendly face.
Indian education system is designed like hell. they teach us.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Even I am still confused with that.
Platforms. I think everything is extremely difficult to go past any visa application platforms.
Even the NIT website is not well designed.
Yep.
I think the Paytm
Cool.
app is also not clearly well designed. They don't know what they're trying to do with the app. And every time I'm about to make a payment, they ask me to make an update, which is the worst.
Yeah. Zoom just asked me to do that right before this call, and what a talk about delightful moments, and yeah, totally screwing it. But cool, folks, awesome. Love the participation. Like, let's keep this energy going and through this session. And with that, let's begin. And let's start with the resume. And I'll just briefly outline how this whole presentation is going to be. Like, we'll talk about the resume first. We'll talk about the portfolio next, and then I'll sprinkle in some muft ka gyan. But I hope it all comes together, and let's see how it goes. Let's start with the resume first. Why first resume, right? I think resume is a first touch point that, say, any of us has with a hiring manager, right? Like, that's the first thing that they'll see. No matter what advanced hiring tool someone uses, it is always the resume that hits you first. And so let's look into what should be done, what should not be done in terms of the resume, right? Like, and we'll start with, and this is a real resume, by the way. Although I think I talked with Utkarsh and we agreed on hiding details, and I totally missed out on doing that. But let's start with good examples, and we have a solid one here actually. Like, so Anmol is here. Kishore Kanan, don't annotate, man. Everyone can see it. Somebody did this to me also, and that's how I know how annotation works on Zoom. So let's take a look at, actually, you know what, let's go around across the board and let's hear what is like, according to you, what do you think is happening really well with this resume? Let's just have probably hear from 3-4 people. So feel free to go off mute and speak as to, what you think is happening well here.
The experiences have been defined well.
Like, that's a good one. Okay.
The good, like the summary, the title is explained well, but again, there's a lot of definition I feel which is not working.
Okay. Interesting. Nice analysis. Yeah.
I can
I
scan
think
the
they are
resume.
covered in just one page.
Well, we don't know that, but that's a very good catch. We'll come to it. What's the last person?
I think he is a designer, so his hobbies are related to art mostly.
That is
He is
interesting.
marketing himself.
That is interesting. Cool. That's great. Great points, everyone. This is really interesting. The hobbies one is actually a very interesting find. I did not notice, but let me start with one issue and see all the points that we just heard, right? It was mostly from a consumer point of view, right? Like we are consuming this resume on our screen, and that was our feedback, right? Like that's what our mind told us that, hey, this seems fine, or that piece works really well. The exercise I want to do now is, let's totally flip it. Let's forget about ourselves. Let's just think whoever is going to look at this resume, what are they probably going to do first, second, third, and let's try to essentially do the whole UX design of the resume for the end audience, which is the hiring person, right? And one of the first things which is, I mean, insanely annoying. We can call it the usability of the resume, probably, if I may, but that's hyperlinking all the links. And frankly, Anmol has done all of that in his resume, but this is one of the biggest frustration points that I have, and I can speak of my peers for this as well, that links, if they're not hyperlinks in the PDF, it just doesn't speak a lot well about the candidate, which is such a weird and small thing to pick on, right? Like why would anyone pick on hyperlinks on your resume? But we are in the business of experiences, right? And it matters. In fact, think of the hyperlink being a paper cut, right? If you have a lot of paper cuts, you'll start bleeding. Like suppose your hand has a lot of paper cuts, it's going to start bleeding and it hurts. So this hurts the resume, absolutely. Now let's come on to the next one. Let's play another game. I really thought this was going to be very controversial, but I think it's not. But we have two resumes in front of us. Which one is the better one as far as we can guess? So again, maybe three new folks who have not spoken before, feel free to go off mute and just say left or right, anything that comes to your mind.
The one on the right.
Okay.
Left side one.
Oh, that's
yeah. I think the left one is better because like it's more scannable.
But it is friendly is right side.
Okay.
I think so.
All right. We have our three people, and yeah, interesting points again. I hate to break it to you.
Left side, as it is looking so simple.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I think so.
One page, that's why.
Generally, people don't have that much time when they're going through resumes. So left one is like a quick look, quick sum.
Yes, it might be, but here's the thing. I think both have drawbacks and both have merits. In fact, the merit, like the reason you heard the buzzer was because the left one does one thing very well, which is that it's a one pager, whereas the right one is not a one pager. But left side resume doesn't give you a lot of information to hold on to of this person, whereas right side one does. So yeah, that's there. Resumes have to be one page. Like it's almost a law, I would say, by now. And we'll go through some examples as well. But I can't emphasize this enough. But like resumes just cannot go beyond one page. And if I can make this again like a controversial statement, till now what I've seen is I've almost never seen great designers go beyond one page resume, or for that matter, resumes of any kind, of all people. A VP of design or a VP of tech person will almost always have a one pager. And this is just uncanny. Like, how do these folks even like nail it and why, right? It's because they have gone through that journey and they have seen how not consumable like more than one page is. A resume's one and only job is to give the hiring person a very good snapshot of your capabilities and your journey. That's it. उससे ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं है and उससे कम भी कुछ नहीं है. The problem with the left side resume was that it was falling short a little in terms of the content. They don't have to explain projects. You should almost never talk about projects in your resume. Who cares what project someone did, right? I could be, I don't know, like say Johnny Ive and yeah, maybe then projects will matter, but he'll have hundreds, right? So let's look at how, Anmol's resume. Okay, the slides are totally disorganized, but here's what is going really well. This is what I was supposed to do. In Anmol's one-page resume, and it was one page. I thought it was not one page, and that's why I said maybe it's not, because I confused. But it is one page. It is really well organized. And the flow of information is also very, very important and very, very interesting here, which is it has the certain order, right? Like often the job of a resume is also, it serves like a hook. So its job is it's supposed to get the hiring person interested in you enough or your profile enough that they would want to see more, right? When I see this resume, what I immediately get a sense of is that it's very well organized, it's very well written. I get good enough snapshots and I want to see more. And when I want to see more, links, if you have, is the best, right? So yeah, that's what this resume is doing really, really well. Let's look at one more. This is another, I would say, a very beautifully designed resume. The demerit of this is that, as you can see, this is not a single page resume. This is like, I would say 2 pages. But Janvi has done a great job here at formatting and I would say designing the resume at the first place. And it follows a very, very good order, which is, I know who this resume belongs to. There's a name. I get a great snapshot of what they are doing right now. And then I get a very good reverse chronological, like, starting from now to what they did before, a good snapshot of what they have been doing. And always have the link to your portfolio, right? And she has that over here, which is great. Awesome. Let's look at, so yeah, the takeaway here is that design your resume. We are a designer after all, right? And the design here doesn't only mean that it has to be beautiful. Making anything beautiful for that matter, again, it's like, again, cigarette, it's like it gets you addicted. Your first base is clear, right? You have a great foot in the door or into someone's life. Similarly, if your resume is designed well, at least it will ensure, or if it is pretty, I'm not talking about designer, if it is pretty, it will at least appeal to that human requirement of seeing something beautiful. At least it touches that. After that, you can absolutely design the whole flow of information, have a brief, showing what you look like is great. I mean, it's such a human thing, right? We function as people who mostly interact through visual medium. We consume everything visually primarily. So yeah, designing that flow of information, having a link to your portfolio, all of that matters. And like this one page real estate needs to be designed like we design any other products.
But Ashish, before we move forward, I have a question that most of us come across as soon as we graduate. So if you've just graduated, you don't really have experiences to put in the experience section, which takes up most of the resume. So if you're just a beginner, what do you put in there?
That's a good one. Let me think. Depends where someone is, I would say. There is almost, so one page is both a small enough real estate to fill and also not, enough to have it completely overflowing, So what I mean by that is, I'm thinking someone who's in their, say, first year and they are interning or they are applying for an internship and they are in the first year of the college. I would assume they would not have much to speak of. They don't have to follow this exact format. They can do something else. I still hope that they'll have some link to some work that they have done. So that should be there. It should talk briefly about what the person wants to do, and maybe talk about projects in that resume. So maybe it's that someone coming out of design school or say applying for a design job, I would assume they should have they can follow the same probably. They might have interned at a number of places, so talk about the internship experience. If not, just in the world of design, what have they done and how that has brought some value to someone or added to their own knowledge. Any of those things can go. Yeah, we'll take questions actually slightly at the end. I think otherwise it's going to blow. So Nivan, I do see your raised hand. But yeah, we can take small questions from moment to moment. But yeah, does that answer your question, Devki?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Ashish.
Cool. Let's so I have put up my resume here as well, and I think the point I'm trying to make here is, अगर मेरा resume एक page में fit हो सकता है तो किसी का भी हो सकता है. Usually the problem, so actually Devki, you brought up a very good point, because to be very honest, I have not thought that way at all till now. I have always looked at resumes having problem of a lot of content rather than less content. At least that would be the, like, say 95% of the problems that I've seen. Hence this, if I can fit so many small, so many experiences, then most people should be able to, is what my point is, hopefully. Yes, less is way more. And I don't, the timing of the question is perfect. So if someone doesn't have anything, that's good. Like, white spaces is completely okay in the resume, I think. But here's what is not okay, I feel. Filling white spaces with pieces or content or information which is not relevant, so it's very contextual, and resumes, although everyone makes, where they are in the design journey or in their career journey, probably influences a lot. So by default, I would say less is more. And I can even speak to some very interesting, almost marketing like resumes where, say, 2/3 of the page is just empty and there would be one line of text, help me fill it or something like that. But yeah, I think a point that I'm not making anywhere over here, which I feel is, always let yourself out into all the touch points. It's like, actually, I would love to go to Devki's resume here. I think it's this one. You see how this is very, not Devki, Janvi. So how Janvi's resume is very different from Anmol's. In fact, it is not as dry and dead as my resume. And that's a good thing. That's a very, I'm automatically making a mental connect that, okay, this is very Janvi, and that's a good thing. Similarly, if you do have to do something slightly out of the box, that's actually good, and that's totally fine. Probably not a great time to make this point, because I am going to make a point about fitting in. See, the job, again, going back to the job of a resume, what resume accomplishes for you as a candidate with respect to the hiring manager is that it should communicate in a very swift way who you are, what you do, and why you can be a good fit for that role. What all these 3 points summarizes or does is that make the hiring person interested in learning more about you. So, and resumes are consumed very fast because it's just one page, and at any given time there will be hundreds of resumes. So this is probably the only place where you should absolutely fit in. And if you just look at these 3 different resumes together, you can see it's not similar structure wise, it's not similar design wise, beauty wise, but it is very similar as to what it is communicating in a quick manner, right? These three are quickly giving a glance of who this person are, who these people are, what they are doing, what they have done last, and a brief history of what they have accomplished essentially in each of the positions. Remember, accomplish, not what they have done. And link to the website or link to the portfolio. Everyone has it. So yeah, that's the point, which is fit in just this one time. Let us fit in, because that's the whole job of resume. If your resume becomes a friction, then it will stand out so much that it will go to the dustbin. Also, if it is fitting in too much, like if it is just a cookie cutter plain text bhara hua hai, it's not consumable, it will also go to the dustbin. So it is probably 80% fitting in, 20% standing out here. So yeah, this is, well, we covered this quite fast. All the resume related takeaways, I think that's here. Hyperlink, one page, design your resume. Less is always more, fit in. And something I'm missing, which is bring yourself into your character, your personality into the resume a little. And always, and this should have been point number 0, which is think for, like, take your resume as a UX design project. The audience is the hiring person. What resume's job is to give a snapshot and get someone interested in you to learn more, and that should be a jumping an entry point to your portfolio. So if we all work, I think, under that set of constraints and goal, with the resume. With that, it's time for another game. This is where we take out our pen and paper. And this game is called a 3-dot game. It's a very, very old game. So take your pen and paper out. Make these 9 dots. Oh, sorry, this is not 3 dots. This is absolutely wrong. This is supposed to be 9 dots, not 3. And I'll 9-dot game. Yes. So draw these 9 dots on your paper, or even mentally, but you have to show it at the end. So, and once you are ready, I'll give the instructions, but there's a catch. I can only give the instructions only once, and only once. So everyone has to be listening. Once everyone is listening, I'll give the instruction once, and whatever information you get, usi ke andar you have to solve this puzzle. Okay. So just show me quick thumbs up if you have the 9 dots on your paper. Awesome. I see a few people showing thumbs up. Wonderful. Let's start. Everyone ready for instructions? And to do this, we'll take exactly 1 minute. Okay? Exactly 1 minute. Okay. Here's the instruction. You have to connect all the dots in a line without lifting your pen or pencil, whatever you're holding. Without lifting in, you have to connect all the lines, all the dots in less than 3 lines. That's it. The 1 minute starts now. We are approaching the time. Is anyone ready to show what they have got? All right, everyone, time's up. Let us see what you have done. This would be a great time. If you have me pinned on your screen, feel free to unpin me. Then if you can do that briefly, or like, I think that's on everyone. And then, yeah, just show your solution like this to the camera and let's see what we have done. Very interesting one, Sanjeev. Shrishti, oh God, I think you guys have played this before. You guys are too good. Uncles are too good. Ishwarya, yes, you have absolutely played this. Come on. Devki has got it right. Krishnedu, let's see what you have got. Yes, that is a lot of people getting it right. No, Nishant, you have not.
You see it right?
That's a fun part. Krishnedu, I cannot see your screen. Actually, wo blur ho raha hai. I think it's because of your background.
Okay.
Shagun, that's more than 3 lines, isn't it?
Now?
Yes, you have got it. If you know you have got it, you should just say. Ashwarya, Ashish, interesting. Yeah, lots of fun, creative solutions, right? Let me show you. So here's the thing. If you have changed the configuration of the 9 dots, it's correct. If your line is not 90 degrees, it is correct. If it looks anything like any of this, it is absolutely correct. In fact, there is no right, like there is only wrong, but everything else is right. You know why this happens and why we are playing this game? Anyone wants to? I think we have got some people who have figured it out. So anyone wants to go off mute and explain what the difference, like how some people are just thinking very differently, realigning 9 dots into one straight line and connecting it, या फिर using a circular line. Anyone?
I think you said
the way it was arranged, the way it was given to us, we were trying to solve it that way. Yeah. I want
basically about, yeah, I think it's basically about solving one problem from different perspective, just to see different perspective towards one problem.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. Actually, it is exactly that. And it shows how in the box we think. We often, I mean, the first time I had to do it, I just couldn't do it. And I did it in 4 conventional lines, you know, like 90 degree. I thought, I mean, I didn't like, it was just natural to think that way, very in the box, very ki 3 line karna hai, matlab I have only 3 straight lines. That's not true. The point is how much you can like reframe the constraints to enable a better outcome, I would say. So yeah, that's what this game was about. And with that, let's dive into probably a very meaty portion of this whole session, which is a portfolio. Yeah, Devki, I'm trusting you with timekeeping. Just let me know if I'm beyond time or under time.
We have a lot of time, no problem.
We do, perfect. Awesome. So portfolio, let's start with portfolio. So a portfolio is, well, after resume, all there is, right? It is the next best thing than having you in front of the interviewer, I would say, or the hiring manager. But I think it's even better than that. So let's dive straight in. Cannot stress this enough also, which is always have a custom domain, like no Notion links. Even if it is a Notion, it can be hyperlinked to your domain. See, we are in the business of what? Product design, right? UX design, product design, all of it pertains to tech. And if we cannot have basic mastery on the tech, it just says something about you, don't it? So yeah, so as example, I have here Oishi Sen's website, and there can be any, and I'm pretty sure like this is a very affordable domain, probably 500 a year. Even if it is not affordable, it's a very, very, very good and important investment. If you're paying for Figma, you should not pay for Figma. You should pay for a domain for your portfolio. Yeah, it's just the minimum bar. Why it is so important to have, and I would love to take questions after this. Why does say important to not have a not yourname.com domain is it just says that you have not put in enough effort, right? If you have, it's not easy. Like a lot of you might not even know how to connect, like say you have a portfolio on Notion and you want to connect it to something.com, you don't know how to do it. Totally fine, right? But if you have stayed behind this, not knowing the challenge of how to connect, that's not very good designer like, right? As designers, we are great problem solvers. We're supposed to be. That's why we are hired, right? We are supposed to be part of a team solving problems. So how can we not solve the small problem? I would love to hear some contrary, I would say, thoughts or questions as to, so cases against having yourname.com. Anyone? Devki?
I'm also pro have yourname.com, but the only reason I can say why people might not have one is you're more busy working on multiple projects that you don't have time to create a website for yourself.
Yeah, that is a something I've heard. Yeah, that is yeah, I mean, but, and there's always going to be buts, right? The but of this is like BUT, but not but. That is probably reasonable. But if you have a portfolio, right? Like suppose you have a Notion portfolio, and I have seen this happen mostly with Notion portfolios. If you have Notion portfolios, just, and does the toggle, right? Share it on the web, it gives you a giant link. You have time to build the Notion, I would say, portfolio, but you didn't go the extra mile to connect the domain. So that is where probably the issue lies, which is, hey, and if you are anything, if you are a senior product, like if you're not, if your experience is not like say up to anything like a lead product designer, I'll tell you what I do and what the convention is. I would not care, not take a look. I mean, they might be busy, yes, for sure. But I feel even that's a fallacy. Like you cannot be so busy till you are a lead product designer that you cannot put a portfolio together. That's one. But the convention is, I think, more or less the same. Like they may not care about a lead product designer having a portfolio, right. But yeah, but in general, I don't like this train of thought or argument actually. If someone says I don't have time, and some legends in the industry do, believe me, some legends like I think Paul Stamascio and whatnot. It's a very controversial topic. It's divided, but would you, for yourself, like if I'm the candidate who wants a better, like say a better opportunity, and I'm on the market, will I stay behind? I would say, do I stay behind this divided opinion or divided understanding, or do I transform that problem and go beyond and actually have something which can tell my story even if I'm not there in the room? So that's that. Cool. Any more questions regarding the domain name piece? All right, let's move forward. Let's pause a little.
Sorry, I actually have a question. Is
Yes.
it possible to buy a custom domain name via Wix? Because I've heard that Squarespace and Wix.com really give you good packages and deals where you can probably design your own custom domain name. Is that correct?
Yes. All these platforms do. I won't be explaining how in this session for sure, but yes, the short answer is yes.
Cool, thanks.
It only comes down to, will you buy it through, like even Notion will probably at some point enable a like just buyer.com. It's just expensive that way. If you don't care, that's good. If you do care, go to, I think, godaddy.com and get something which is very, very cheap. And then you have to do some basic job of connecting it to your portfolio. So yeah, with that, let's take a pause. Let's just, and I think you can also hear the music behind us. It's not a therapy session happening right now, but let's talk about again, what is a portfolio, right? Let me know if the music becomes overpowering. I can totally shorten it. Like we analyze the resume, right? Which is, what is the job of the resume? Similarly, let's try to understand what is the job of a portfolio now, right? And how does it have to be? And in the scheme of you getting hired, you landing at a certain place, how does portfolio help? Why it is there at the first place, and why does all these companies demand a portfolio, right? So the TLDR of needing a portfolio or having a portfolio is basically, it is a great showcase. It is, in its summary, the first product that you are putting out. See, as product designers, we will be lucky to be part of a team that ships out a very great product, right? Often we'll be part of teams which ships out okay features, not even a whole product. So in this scheme of things, right, what do you even own, right? Like, say you are, even today, you are a product designer, and you do own, like, say, as a product designer, you own a certain feature of a product. Like, say you work for Amazon, you own the checkout ka button. And that's true, that happens. There's a whole team which only takes care of the checkout button. If even in that ownership, not 100% of it is owned by you, right? You will be owning the product design execution of it, but there will be the product manager, there will be the business side of things, there will be tech, there will be other people. You, along with all these other stakeholders, influence and own that small piece of the product. But now, if you just zoom out and you think portfolio is what you own 100%, you own 100% of the product that is your portfolio, right? If you say only put, like, say ashish.com is just a PNG, that is a product. Or if ashish.com is a completely massive, amazing, stellar website, even that is owned by me. But what they tell or what they communicate about me who owns that product is very, very different, right? It is a very good marker of learning how much effort a designer has put into their own product, right? Now, if I see a portfolio which at its face doesn't seem crafted, it automatically means that this person has not spent too much time and effort. And via that, I would imply that it's very likely that they'll not sweat the last mile, the details, when they come and work on my team on our product, right? So that's the kind of association that always gets made, right? And that is why crafting your product is very, very important. And we'll see some examples of really good and really bad portfolio. Yeah, that's there. Let me see if I'm missing something. Let's see, portfolio is the only product that you have full control on end to end. That's right. Yeah, let's take a look at this. Let's play another somewhat interesting game. And let's see, out of these two, which one would you use for train booking? Do you go to irctc.co.in or Ixigo Train? I know I'm showing websites, but you would book through the app. But the point these two are illustrating is that we subconsciously judge things, right? We subconsciously look at things and then imply what's good and what's not good. If something is well executed versus something not well executed. IRCTC now is a relatively much better product than what it was. But even today, someone wouldn't, and I'm taking a leap, someone wouldn't opt for IRCTC as the first option if they are trying to book the train. Whereas on the other hand, any other train booking platforms which is even remotely well done shows a very different picture. So I would say most people might choose Ixigo versus the IRCTC one. Oops, I don't know why it went there. Yeah, now again, same goes with these two. By its just off its face, why would, like, so there's Craigslist. I don't know if many people use it, but do check this website out. So all these websites and all these examples are an individual product, right? They are something as a whole, you know, like there's a boundary of what bangalore.craigslist.org is and how you like it, you don't like it, how it's designed, how it's made, how it functions. It all gets encompassed into, say, mine or your understanding of a product or experience of a product, right? So there is Craigslist, which is where I can go and sell cars, but there is also OLX. Which one would you choose? We don't even have to answer this because in our own subconscious minds, we might have much sooner than, say, actually saying that, okay, I choose OLX or I choose Craigslist. Mind has made like your mind has already decided that I'll go with one. That's the subconscious evaluation of कि ये product कैसा लग रहा है मुझे and you know which one I would prefer just off its face. So that's there. Then there is LIC as well. Very interesting websites or products to just experience as a whole. And again, similarly, through that journey or through that analogy, I would say which of these two portfolios will someone approach, right? And again, I'm driving the point here that how your portfolio is designed or hosted and presented. Johan Kumar is actually a very good product designer. I have nothing against him. The point I'm trying to make is his portfolio everywhere is behance.net/something. And like him, there are many of us who have a Behance portfolio. There are many of us who will have Dribbble portfolio, I would say. And then there are all the others who don't have portfolios on these platforms. Unlike resumes where you have to fit in, portfolios is the place where you absolutely should not fit in. And it's not that by not fitting in, you are doing a great job. By not fitting in, you're increasing your basic chance of, I would say, someone spending the time with your portfolio. Behance is not a great place to storytell unless someone has spent a lot of time and has done something very interesting. I have not seen any great Behance portfolios of product designers or UX designers. Similarly, Dribbble, I just don't think Dribbble is a place where someone can host, present their UX design or product design portfolio and tell a certain story or a narration. So that's the point I'm trying to drive here, which is Behance में portfolio host करना, not portfolio host करना, but Behance में portfolio रखना takes things away from you, I would say. Dribbble takes things away from people. If you're a graphic designer, if you don't have a portfolio on Dribbble, I'll totally judge you. But as a product designer, UX designer, no, it doesn't. These are not good mediums of storytelling. Second, it is very clearly showing that you're not focused on the craft of how something that you own completely, 100%, comes across. Behance mein you can control only so many things. For that matter, even Medium, right? You can control only so many things. But would you have 100% control of what you are, what you own, or will you have say 25%? Having said that, if you go to my own website, And if you look at some of the older portfolio pieces, like quite older, they take you to Medium. Like individual case studies will take you to the Medium page. And that's a decision I made in that time. And this is something I'm seeing people do, and could be good, could not be good, who knows. But anything that does the job to tell a good story about your work enables you, and that will only happen if you have the most control of the storytelling medium. That will only happen if you have full ownership of the portfolio or wherever you're building it, hosting it, managing it. So, oops, yeah, we were supposed to look into, yeah. So yeah, and with that, we can, so I think some of you might be familiar with what good portfolios look like. There's this website, bestfolios.com/portfolio. I strongly recommend everyone to go check it out. Not because, again, like, actually you can't fit in. I was going to say that not because we want to fit into what these greats are doing, but it's a good source of inspiration. And if you actually go look, you will see some very, very good execution. And we don't know how they have executed, like if they're hosting their portfolio on Wix or Squarespace or whatnot. But in today's date and time, there are n number of platforms which can enable you to completely own the execution, right? And how some people have done it really, really well, I think we can see on Best Folios. Then we might also have questions like this, which is, okay, I have, say, very few work. Like say I have only worked on 2 good enough projects, which I can write about and show it to everyone, which is fine. But I have often come across questions like this, which is, so many of my work didn't make it to production. Now what do I do? Right? That's one. In cases like this, and I also hear about so many of my work are concepts. And in fact, I don't hear about this enough, to be very honest. What do you do about all the work that you have done? Like say probably 80% of everything that's on your Figma, pen and paper, your mind, your Google Drive, wherever you are working to solve problems, right? Probably 80% of it is throwaway. It doesn't make it to the final product. It doesn't even go on the product. Majority of it is just explorations or me playing around. Does that have a place anywhere on our portfolio? Could be a potential question. And for that, I think, I think the answer is yes, they should absolutely be on your portfolio. And so any and all constraints that we have, right? We should just turn it into our strength. And, like we can even see how it's being done. Right. So let's look at some portfolios which are not even going to go into the good portfolio pieces. I think we might have seen enough. I'll probably distill it down to as to what it takes to build a good case study or a good say portfolio piece. But let's look at the throwaways, the things that do not make it to portfolio. And in fact, I'm strongly advising everyone to put all these things on your portfolio. Show your concepts, show your conceptual work, something that you have just made for fun because you liked it. Show your throwaway work, show the work that didn't make it to the final, say, production product, something that did not get adopted by the product team, which is totally fine. And some of these folks have done a very, very good job. In fact, let's take a look at this person's site, which is Paco Louis. Nice, decent website, right? But what's the most interesting piece is he has all these projects which as a hiring manager, say, I'll definitely go into first, and I'll definitely look at the first one first, second one second. But after getting that picture, right, after understanding, okay, if he's a product designer, after learning कि okay, ये बंदा और बंदी कर क्या सकता है, After that, I often have a hunger as to know what this person does otherwise also, or what got this person to this level of, say, finesse and whatnot. So that's where things like this archive is really, really well. So for Paco Louis here, he has a gallery of all his other work. And this can be a dump, to be very honest. And I would, yeah, you can see this guy has designed like watches, which is very interesting. And he's, what I'm trying to, or what I learn from by seeing this is that this guy, and he could have just stopped here also, by the way, and I would have learned, ठीक है, ये बंदा बना लेता है, like he's probably playing with Blender, and you know, he is able to do things. He is able to make this, oh, a nice green thing over here, great. But because it's a dump, I get the full breadth of idea as to what he's capable of and has probably done. And seeing things like this just blows my mind that, okay, he not only does he know Blender, he knows some things, something else, or even knows Blender so well that he can take things apart and make something like this. Wow, this is wonderful, right? This is not even a designer's core competency. Like, it shouldn't be. Then I'm seeing that he has done, or he or she has done, some very interesting environments. It's probably not a UX designer, could be, but I have seen like the greats have this, is what I would like to mention, which is a really, really good product designer is able to, I would say, you know, show all his throwaway works also, and still be able to make a point as to, you know, what else they can do. This is not being done enough, is what I feel. Coming back to, let's see, this person's, and they are like, oops, my bad. Let's look at this person. My bad, sorry. Okay, we'll not look at the other persons, but yeah, so Eugene Park, I think, again, these are all portfolios I came across on Best Folios. If you want to see what some portfolios of people in India looks like, which are this way, look at, I would say, Aditya Srivastava. I think I can totally pull up, my bad, I can totally pull up Vittal Bhatt's portfolio also. Yeah, if it doesn't show up, yes, let's look at Vittal's portfolio. Again, so Vittal works at Cred now. We almost hired him at Ola. If Vittal, you are in the audience, hi. But and yeah, I'm realizing a lot of it is under, like, you know, behind the like password protected, but yeah, he has a dribble, which is interesting, which gives me an idea that apart from being a UI UX designer, probably he can do some cool things like this, making this very interesting Santa. I don't know where this will help, but what I'm trying to say is this does a very good job of painting a picture of the T-shaped skill a product designer is supposed to have. And often as product designers or UX designers, we focus on the conventions mostly, you know, case study, having good case study, having a good write-up, trying to tell a good story, which is foundational, absolutely. If that is not there, probably someone will not pay attention to even look at what's out there in your throwaway work, ya archive, ya jo bhi hai. But having, like, the whole hiring process is always like, it is an optimization game for the candidate, right? So if I'm the person who's going to put my resume into the job description, I should have everything working to make my case a better case, right? And things like this essentially helps. So do show throwaway work and do show concepts goes a long way. Actually, before we even dive here, there's one more piece that I should mention that I did not, which is portfolio should always be optimized for quality, not quantity at all. Never quantity. You might have a lot of work. Great. Don't show it up. If you own a website like, say, the previous person's, then let's, sorry, I'm totally revealing all the secrets. Yeah, if you have, say, oishisen.com, like, or oishi.io, right? the homepage should immediately take me to the best things that you have worked. Should not be more than 3, a rough, I would say, rule of thumb. Because see, you might have really great work actually beyond 3 or 4 projects also. Actually, even 3 is pushing it. Beyond 2, you might have. In fact, why don't we do this? Let me open my own portfolio and I can tell you myself which are my best work and which are not, right? So I'll scroll. So this is, if you can see, this is my website. It's going to take some time to load because it's hosted on wix.com. Do not host it on Wix. But I can tell you, so this is one of the best work I have. This is one of the best work I have. That's why they are the first things I've placed, not the third things, not the second, the first things. I mean, just ignore these because these don't make for case studies because I'm not a product designer here, but I was a product designer here. And at some point of time, all that you could see is this as soon as you land. And once you opened it, you would, just see that. And I didn't have actually even this old works, but even the way I have placed these old works, it is making sure that someone doesn't go here and click it as a first piece that they see. Very likely they wouldn't, and I have analytics to see this, and it doesn't. The idea is that, in fact, it's even better to just remove those old works or probably hide it under a page like, some of these folks have under archive and whatnot. So the point is optimize for quality, not quantity. I have seen people with one portfolio pieces. In fact, if you go to bestfolios.com and you look at some of the good editor picks wala post the portfolios, you will totally see that a lot of them have very, very few. Almost, it seems as if 3 is the convention of sort, which is interesting, and often never more than 4 or 5. Yeah. So, any questions regarding this, the portfolio, throwaway work, quality versus quantity?
I think in the chat section, there are a lot of questions. If you guys want to unmute and ask it yourself, that would be great. Or
yeah, let's do it. Ashish Jain, I see your question first. Tell me. Showing only mobile app designs. Yeah. So Ashish asks, what do you feel about candidates showing only mobile app designs? Well, if you have only worked on mobile app designs, then show it. If not, then probably again, quality over quantity. There's no point trying to diversify. Diversify karke, suppose you'll think कि मैं 3 portfolio pieces डालूंगा and one is mobile, web and whatnot. Doesn't have to. Also, when we do that when we want to appease, there's a very fine balance between increasing your chances and I would say, trying to come across as a good candidate. It's a fine line. Always default to quality. I would say, just have your best work first, no matter of what platform. Have your second best work second, third best third, in that order. Totally laid out in a way that someone is very likely to go to the first one and not the second one or third one first. A lot of enterprise designs are done for web and desktop, and in fact, very good point. Very, very good question, Ashish, over here. So Ashish is saying, what if I am a B2B wala designer? I'm a designer in the B2B world. I don't have a mobile work. Totally fine. And you know what will happen? You might have, if you have a conversation, an interview, and that's where someone might ask, which is, do you have, say, mobile design work? And you can tell them that your primary work that you do is it's not the mobile work. So your best work may not be mobile design work, but I'll be assuming that you might have some mobile design work to show for. So if an interviewer is directly asking, if they are asking you, show me mobile design work, and not asking you, show me the best work, you can show the mobile design work if you have. And if you have just not worked on any mobile designs, that's also totally fine. it's just not a good fit, and that's totally fine. You do not have to fit for, you cannot fit for everyone, to be very honest. You'll only fit with or fit at, or be a good fit at some companies, and that's the only places you should be when like trying to optimize, I think. And this is a very hard thing to even realize and kya bolte, internalize. I remember how my internalizing happened. So let's take this point, which is, I am not a good fit for all the companies that are hiring. I am a good fit for only few. No matter what kind of designer I am, how sooner or later in the design journey I am, or in the career journey I am, I will only fit at some places. Your goal is to only find those places. That's it. Any book recommendations for UX and how I approach to? There are many. There are tons. There are many. Starting from Don Norman's book. Read all Don Norman. Say leke read some French books also. Try to find a book by senior product designer of Apple. I'm forgetting the name, but just try to find that. There are many books. I think the community, the ADPList community and Designboat can suggest you plethora. I'll take 2 more questions before we proceed. Can we ask something aside from portfolio? Shagun, not right now. What can one display when transitioning?
Something interesting about intellectual property rights of a company. So how do you showcase that work?
Yes. Oh God, very meaty questions. We should have probably saved it for the after the session, but can we come to that? Let's do it there, because it will easily take 15 minutes or 10 minutes, but a very good question to hold on to. So cool. We'll come back to the questions. Let's dive back into the portfolio piece. And see, you might have heard कि case studies में storytelling होना चाहिए. If not, I'm going to tell you that please storytell in case studies. In fact, we have Hans Raj here in the session. I think we have recently talked, interviewed in the capacity of Hans is not joining Nova, but Hans, I clearly remember his portfolio pieces to tell a very story. Not just in his portfolio, when we were doing the portfolio deep dive, also that same storytelling was consistent in his narration also. So everyone feel free to reach out to Hans. Hans, I'm just going to assume that they can reach out to you, and just share your portfolio link. Sure. Yeah, thanks. From a story. So here's the thing. Storytelling happens like this, like any story for that matter happens like this. And what I'm saying is, don't follow it. Okay? But what you cannot do with your case study or your portfolio piece, you cannot just dump what you have done. वो तो हो ही नहीं सकता. Just don't do it. It's a waste of your time. You can follow this, which is, you start by, I think I would say about 95% of the case studies are, or the portfolio pieces are, they'll start by an introduction, problem kya hai, and they'll start about how, like the rest 90% of the piece is all about how I have solved it. And the journey follows something like this. Maybe it's only an upward rising curve. But if we incorporated this, it would have been better, which is, so there is a beginning and you're slowly telling that, hey, I have solved this problem. Excuse me, research se ye insight aaya, ye aaya, wo aaya. Finally, maybe the climax moment happens where you actually show the design, right? Or the final solution and how you have done it. But there is a critical problem here. Here we are assuming that in this upward graph wala journey, the y-axis could be attention. Okay? Often we forget that attention will be limited. So if you have not done a great job in the beginning wala section, it is unlikely someone will even be patient to hear what solution you have. And this whole thing takes 20 minutes, upward of 20 minutes sometimes. And it is unrealistic. And that's why I propose this. Let us strongly follow this mechanism of storytelling. You don't even have to read the details. I'll tell you what exactly is happening. Start by showing the solution first. You tell what the problem is, and in the industry, it's called front loading. Okay? Front loading is where you just give something instead of building momentum, build up karne se better, just give the final thing and then you show the journey. And I think I'm pretty sure in Hollywood this is known by this some term, and some director always does it. How does this help? The attention versus time graph looks something like this. See, attention is bound to go down, like it is supposed to go down. Someone cannot be fully engaged for 20-30 whole minutes, right? So what do? You show the problem, you tell about the problem, you show the solution. Okay? Try to show the solution in less than 5 minutes, I would say. It should not, like this whole problem solution should not go beyond 5 minutes. I would say in the experience of hearing things, which you guys are all doing right now, 5 minutes seems like forever. So just do that. And after you have mentioned how you have solved the problem, after that, you can go back to having that journey where you actually tell, how the design methods, research, this, that. So the attention will drop, but then you have to pick up the attention, right? Like, how do you bring the attention back? You have already shown the solution before. Solution is not the only thing that should come out of after the cliff, So in a story, the final thing that gets revealed is not the only, like we have all watched some really good movies, right? What you might have seen in those movies is that often there will be some challenges, some hurdles, there will be some problems. The movie starts in a very nice way. I think a very good example is there's a heist movie. I'm going to forget the name. Oh my God. I'll try to find that name and I'll share it across. The Italian Job. That's the name of the movie. I think that totally is a replica of this whole journey. See what I did there? If I just told you the name of the movie, it would have been done, finished. I didn't. I deliberately said, oh, what's the name of the movie? I forgot. You listened, probably have thought, okay, ye ho sakta hai kya, wo ho sakta hai kya, wo ho sakta hai. So you were engaged a little. So that's a small example. But in the movie Italian Job also, you'll see the first 15 minutes is so fantastic and awesome. You'll feel ki picture to khatam hi ho gaya hai. And you'll actually see the end. After that, something happens and you go through the whole journey where a big trouble happens. So how do you lift up attention again? You actually show all the challenges that you have faced of all kinds. It like, in between all of this journey, the upward graph, you can mention, and you should, I think you must mention how the designing and shipping the design journey happened. You could show or create setbacks by showing how you proposed a certain design and it was not taken up, and it was, say, rejected, or you missed out on some critical insights, and there was a big wrong turn wala moment. So that's how you, and having one or two of those is absolutely good, I would say. It creates, because see, we all as human beings, we want to, we understand the language of story only. Like any long narration, if I have not played the games with you, if I have not engaged with all of you, you wouldn't have listened. Like you would have just gone back to your Saturday evening. So we humans understand storytelling. Storytelling may what is good storytelling? You have to have enough setbacks or cliffs moment, or like the moments after which things might change. It can, when you have a setback, things can either go totally wrong and not recover, or it can go well and recover. So, there's a fork in the road. So that's good. So yeah, and like maybe you should definitely have one big setback which you overcome, and that is the next big high after having shown the solution at the first. And after that, let the attention wane, which is totally okay. How you did it, design success, impact, and all of that, it can wait. And the good thing is, if someone, if the interviewer doesn't want to hear any of what happened in the middle, you have told the problem, you have told what solution you have done. And if they will almost always be interested in learning ki impact kya nikla hai, that is anyways at the end, right? So even if you miss the central part, it is totally okay. no bad will happen to you. You would have still told the most meaty part of your case study verbally, which is क्या problem था, क्या solution किया, and उसका impact कहाँ से आया. So yeah, tell a story. Just don't present it. Like वो dump form करना is just like pass it. Doesn't even like, I mean, portfolios get rejected. Like your first case study or first, again, it doesn't have to be a case study. Your first portfolio piece has to be telling a very good story. That's it. Cool. So these are all the portfolio takeaways. Take a look, and we are at the tail end of me speaking. After this, we'll be engaging both ways. So having known all about what goes on in the portfolio, here's the sprinkling of cherry or sugar sparkle, whatever. Be on time. I mean, goes without saying. I think if you do it and being on time means अगर 7 बजे स्टार्ट होना था अपना प्रेजेंटेशन तो 7 बजे ही स्टार्ट होता, not 7:05, right? So similarly, if you have to show up at 10 a.m. or 10 like any time dot, if the meeting invite shows that time, you show up at that time. This may not be talked about much, and this is not only something that I just care. See, I'll speak as a true designer. If I think about the psychology of people, if the interviewer shows up before the candidate is there, it is like it's already like I would say 1 or 2 points deducted, if I can even put it into points, puts you in the bad light. You don't want that. You have done so much of good work. You have spent so much of effort. You have designed a nice resume. You have designed a very good portfolio. You have spent weeks crafting story. You are a great designer. Why would you let small things like this take away from all these hard work that you have done? And that's why just be on time, like non-negotiable, not Indian standard time of the meeting. That's it, hands down. And then comes presenting the case studies. Like whenever you'll go on speaking about the case study, the portfolio piece, presenting any presentation that you do, any place or any moment in, actually not even just the hiring place or any moment in life for that matter, right? If you are speaking and people are listening, practice like 100 times or more if required, but practice, just like non-negotiable. I have only mentioned 3. If you do it thrice, like good start, the more you do, the better. So yeah, that's all I had to say about the hiring piece. I hope I have spilled beans, but nothing is secret. This is all known. We all know it. It's just that it has to come from someone like me, probably made into a story. But yeah, I'm confident you guys will craft great resumes, portfolios, and be great candidates going forward. But yeah, let's take up the questions. Devki, I'm pretty sure we have a lot of meaty ones. Let's go.
Oh yes, I think we can start off with the NDA, since that's the one I can remember.
Yes, perfect. So very controversial answer that you will get. It is also an opinionated answer. Whenever you hear opinions, get as many opinions as you can. Then try to make your own takeaways, right? That's where ADPList comes in. Wonderful plug. I should be sponsored by ADPList, but I genuinely mean it. Like, ask this question to more other people, other mentors, and see what they have to say. What I will say, having things behind NDA is a constraint, right? It is a constraint. It is just a constraint. I'm not saying do something illegal. I won't. But also, I mean, don't just fit in, or don't just agree that I cannot show, that's it. No, find ways how you can still show and still not have an issue. I can tell you, and again, see, everything worthwhile takes effort, right? Or everything worth it will require your effort and you should spend it. If candidates tell me something is behind NDA and I cannot show, what I mean is they are not spending enough effort and time to think how they can still show. And I have worked, okay, I'll tell you my experience, why I'm feeling this way. And also see, as designers, we should just have more courage. Thoda sa. I mean, it will make for a wonderful story if a company comes to you and sends you a cease and desist letter. देख तो लो क्या है cease and desist. मजा आएगा यार. I have seen once, but you should see it for yourself. Having your name on a cease and desist is just amazing. It's a good thing to have. I would totally frame it and put it on the wall. That's a good idea for the weekend. I'll be doing that tomorrow. But I worked at Verizon Labs. Verizon Labs was an experimental division of Verizon, which is like Airtel of US. Huge company, giant, which listed on the public stock market, whatever. So बहुत compliance heavy. Legal team is probably larger than design team any given day. So, and it was the experimental team. That was my first job out of college. Now, if I cannot show what I spend, say, 3 months of the internship and 1 year, say, working with them, if I cannot show, what else will I show, right? What else will I show on my portfolio? I can show all the side works, the throwaway work and all of that, but they cannot be the best work that I've shown. It cannot be. So I took it upon myself to find ways as to show it. And I did build a case study. I did, what the path I took was I put it on Medium. The article was unlisted. It can only be accessed through my portfolio. It didn't stop. It doesn't end here. It's not like Verizon didn't come after me. Verizon did come after me. It came very close to burning the bridges also. I would say the product leader who I was working with, we didn't burn the bridge. We did a very good side project after that. But I did have to respond to a lot of emails saying, hey, you cannot do this. So just persist, find ways. I'm not saying, just blatantly put like a nice case study banao and just put it and flout all NDAs. No, you are in the business of being creative. Let's be creative. Let's see everything as either challenges or constraints, work around it, come up with creative solution. And I'm still waiting to come across someone who could say proudly that this work is under NDA, but here's how I'm creatively able to show the NDA work to you. NDA, yeah, that's it.
I think you can also put in passwords to lock your projects now on websites. So that would be great.
Yeah, that can be a filtering mechanism, right? Isn't it? It's like, how do you know if an interviewer is just looking at your profile or is genuinely interested in what you have done? Like, and that's also actually, you know what? Let's go back to Vithal's portfolio piece again, because he has done exactly that. I think this work that he has of Piki is amazing. I'll tell you, but it is behind a password. Yeah. And but at the very same time, as soon as I land on his portfolio site and I see this piece, I'm already drooling. I could see how he has done a very interesting way of showing tabs, recipes ki behind. So it's a very delicious, I would say, something that is a good hook, and a good hook, like enough good hook for me to actually send him a message that, hey, I want the password because I want to see it. And yeah, so and then the ball will be in his court. He can say, okay, I'll be happy to show it on a call, which will officially make it a portfolio deep dive. And I'm, as a hiring manager, I'm not even driving. Vithal is driving his own hiring process, which is just wonderful, isn't it? So that's what I would say, yeah, we can do. So yeah, great point, actually, Devki.
Yeah. I think, guys, this would be the time to unmute and ask your questions. So please make use of that. Or I have some questions here which I can shoot.
Hey,
Hey,
I have a question.
hi. Sorry, go ahead.
So let's say I'm a student right now and I don't have any ties with design. And let's say I want to apply for internships, right? So can I show projects that are imaginary or something that doesn't really, I didn't really implement into the real world, but I did use a few things. Can we do that?
Yes, you can. Why can't you? You can absolutely do that. Again, so just think about it. What will it take for someone to go through that, say, portfolio piece, which is completely imaginary? There could be many things. What I can think of right now is you have to either absolutely kill it in the visual design. I would say, like, very controversial again, but suppose it is just delicious enough to just suck me in. That is one easy low hanging fruit. If you do, great. Or you have to do something. You have to either have a very good storytelling that just has me so engaged that I just don't fall off and just quit. See, what does having, like, say, someone at Swiggy having crafted the say something like the Instamart ka, page that, say, they have crafted. There is an implied hook, right? Which is, oh wow, that's something I use even as a hiring manager or whatnot. That is something even I use. So I do want to learn ki wo kaise banaya and how this guy or girl has crafted it, right? You don't have that benefit, right? So now you should think in this imaginary piece, apart from doing all the basics right, which is having a good design process, solving the problem, framing the problem well, and then solving it. What can you do to just kill it, right? So yeah, think about that, and whatever helps, yeah, you should do. I think Nidhi has raised a. Go for it, Nidhi.
Hey, hi Ashish. So my question is related to resume. So many of the companies, they use ATS, algorithm to shortlist the resumes. So suppose if we design a resume by our own on Figma, do you think that will, pass the ATS compliance?
Yeah, it does. We use one of the worst, not the worst. Yeah, at Nova, we use an ATS like thing. I'm surprised how well it does pick things up. But here's the thing. That's a very good thing to. So what I'm hearing is you are sweating the details. Awesome. Very good. Let me give you an insight, which probably maybe some of us might have, which is the product design industry, like the candidate pool for product design in India, for UX design or whatnot in India, is very small. Okay? Like, and this is like, I hate saying this, to be very honest. If I say this, automatically I'll spoil my chances of finding the right candidate. But there are at any given time more jobs than there are candidates. Yes, it might feel weird hearing this, but this is the fact. There are more opportunities than there are good candidates. So what do you have only one job. You just become a good candidate. As soon as you become a good candidate through your resume, your portfolio execution, your preparedness, a company cannot afford to miss you. So tomorrow, like, so I do a weekly analysis of all the resumes and whatnot, all the things which that ATS thing cannot process and whatnot. By the way, there is a dedicated person to a talent acquisition person does that. Even though they do it daily, I still do it weekly just to cover my bases, so I don't miss out on a good candidate, a great candidate, to be honest. So yeah, you just have to be a great candidate. That's it. And the same, I would say, mechanism is there in all the companies.
Okay, so we don't have to follow any particular format of designing for getting the compliance.
No,
Right?
no.
Okay.
If you do, that's just fitting in for. Don't fit in too much. Also, so if you remember Janvi's resume, that ultra design one, that got scanned through the ATS, so not a problem at all. All right, Abhilash.
So, Ashish, that wasn't Nidhi. I think that was Vidhi.
Vidhi.
So my question is, yes,
Yeah,
so
I
there's
meant
Nidhi
I
and
am
Vidhi.
right. Go for it.
Right. So my question is about resume. So basically, I'm new to UX UI designing, and I hold experience in couple different industries. And so basically, I want to know from you whether in my resume I should, in some way, put my past experience in those industries where I was not a designer at all. So I hold experience. So just to let you know, I hold experience in hospitality and photography industry. So do you think I should put it in my resume? Because I have
Got
done a
it.
lot of work,
Only
because I work
yes.
with 2 startup companies, and that was a lot of work for me. So I
Got
would
it.
want credit for it moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. I have had 2 startups. So one extremely naive and total dustbin mein jane wala, and the other one fairly relevant. So check out my website ashishpanda.com/resume. Look how I'm leveraging. Great question, Nidhi. You should do it if it is relevant to your story, if it adds to you the story that you're trying to say. And see, like even without the portfolio resume and whatnot, we are always telling stories, right?
Right.
My story, like, so yes, you should, but again, pick and choose, optimize for quality, not quantity. You can say that I was in startup, I was in hospitality, I have been in XYZ. How is that relevant to the next position you are trying to get at? That is it. That's all that matters.
Okay, I could say something there. Maybe since I'm working, I am a Designboat student right now. I'm just pursuing the course right now. So I have it in my mind that I need to make a few mock-up case studies. So relating to my previous knowledge of hospitality or photography or yoga, whatever I've done, I could create a few screens, or I don't know what. But don't you think that would make more sense? Because I can literally, put in all my brains into it and design something. Not design, maybe do the research part
Yeah. So
quite
Nidhi,
well.
let me just help you there.
Okay.
What you are trying to do is sunk cost. Almost, I think it's called sunk cost fallacy, which is you have so much behind you, you want to leverage it. So yes, that's good, but doesn't matter. You could have been, I think if President Biden tries to become a product designer and he puts in, hey, I have been the president of US, I don't think it will add much value unless he can say that as a president, I have noticed that government websites have terrible UX and usability, and it doesn't have the luxury to omit the 20% of audience for whom the industry doesn't care, because it is 80-20 rule, right? A government website has to care for everyone, access equality to everyone. So here I am as Joe Biden, who's trying to be a product designer, and I have made a hypothetical redesign of healthcare.gov. And I can successfully say that this design leads, it is accessible by everyone, deaf, blind, without limbs. And here's what the design is, and here's how I know it works. That would make a lot of sense, not just saying that, hey, I've made an app, I've redesigned healthcare.gov because I'm the president of US. I think I'm trying not to be condescending, but I hope you are getting my point. You have to get out of that thought that, hey, I am a different person, or I was a different person. And hey, okay, and I'll totally put it out there. All of us who are coming from different backgrounds, who are learning UX design from scratch, who will be starting their careers as, say, junior UX designers or product designers and whatnot, you already have a million things happening better than many other people, right? Being like, this needs to be won as a badge of, like a medal almost, which is, you know what it says? Say you're coming from, so I come from tech and I dabbled in business, but now I'm a product design leader. What it says is that I'm able to leverage other experiences to be really good at what I'm doing right now. That is, and it is also saying that I'm resilient enough as a person. I'm also a person who doesn't like stagnancy. So you can embrace change and not just embrace, thrive with the change. That's the kind of person you want to be, I would say.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ashish.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks. Abhilash, let's hear yours, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hi, Asis. Really thank you for this session. My question is,
Mhm.
I'm a computer science engineer and I'm a self-taught designer. I've been doing designing from last 5 years with local and some tier 1, tier 2 cities clients. But right now I'm working as an software developer because it was my campus placement. And it's been 2 years and I was waiting to end up my bond of 2 years so that I can leave the company and pursue the design as a full-time career. So will it be possible to say that I am a software developer, and will my portfolio or resume will be shortlisted, or will I be given some chances to get into the design industry if I am having 2 years of experience with a software developing thing?
Yeah. I think I'm getting your question. How would you feel if I tell you that 70% of product designers today, right now, have exactly the same story as you? See, we all feel like my journey is a unique one. When I came, so I was working in US, I came back to India. I thought, oh wow, I have a fantastic story to tell. That hey, I'm coming back from US to India, and kitna unique hai. It's a great meaty story I can tell. As soon as I started telling the story, I saw 10 other people telling the same story. The moral of what I'm trying to say is our journeys feel very unique to us. Experientially, obviously it will, but often it is not. And if it is not, if you just know that it is not, it helps you, right? Because you won't waste time trying to, you'll you might be optimize your story in a different way. Long story short, you have absolutely, if I got your question right, which is, can I transition into a UX designer and still be, yeah, can you repeat your question? I'm sorry, I totally
Sure.
lost.
My main question was, I'm being a software developer from past 2 years, and I want to be as a full-time designer from this year
Yes.
ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So will my profile be accepted, or do I need to do something because I have a competition with the people who are actually pursuing design as
Got it.
a
No.
full-time
Okay,
career?
I totally get you. No,
Sure.
you belong, the 70% of the story, people have the same story. Here's the thing, companies will pay you to, वो जो bond period break करने के लिए जितना भी charge होता है, companies will pay you, to be very honest. They'll be happy to do that at the क्या बोलते हैं, drop of the needle. But you have to spend good effort. You have to spend good effort trying to tell a very good story. The 70% of the people, product designers see, you are thinking others are coming from design backgrounds and they are going becoming designers. That's not true.
Yes.
80% of the design, not 80, in India it is 95% of the people who are landing as designers do not come from a design background at all. Okay? The journey you have is exactly the same as someone else who's coming from architecture school also. It's not like they know that is a design ka field to kuch fayda hai. No. Same starting point. You have to do a very good job at telling your story really well. So it goes back to resume, portfolio. In portfolio, lot of time to craft the story well. Starts from a bare bone case study. If you don't have a portfolio, like you have worked with clients, I think like tier 2-3 city clients. If those are design work, try telling a very good story. If not, take on a problem that you observe and solve it really well from a design point of view. Do a great job at telling a good story. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll definitely take this point ahead, like being a good storyteller. One more point I want to ask that previously I was in Amazon as a customer service developer, customer service executive. However, there was a studio which had actually handled all the graphic elements of Amazon, and that was Studio 26. So one of the mentor designer had given me chance to see the work and be an sidekick for only 2 months, but that was not official. The official
We
title
can,
for me was an customer service
hey,
executive.
I think we can talk separately about this point because
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
others should
oh,
also get some
We
opportunities
have
sure,
to
less
sure,
talk.
sure.
than 5 minutes,
Yeah.
so let's take as many as possible. Sorry to cut you off, Abhilash.
No,
Yeah,
no,
but feel free to
that's
reach me on
perfectly fine.
LinkedIn. We can continue it there. Huh?
Sure, perfectly fine.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Vidhi has her hands raised. I would love to.
Yeah, hi. So this is my first question. I think some other video Nidhi would have asked you that one. So I'm also from Designboat, a student, and we're doing the whole thing from scratch, right? So we're building the product concept, user research, interviews, surveys, things like that, and then moving on to wireframes and the final prototypes. Now, you said that we need to present all of this as a story. And as an example, suppose I want to in an interview, I want to apply for, I'm more interested in UI than UX, for example. I know I need to show all of it and wear several hats, but in that story, I want to push my visual design a little bit more and the UX research bit a little bit less. So how do I balance something like that? And my second question was, I've seen a lot of these entry level jobs, but they all need 1 year working experience in UX. So how do we manage?
So yes, just take that work experience, throw it in the dustbin. The requirement of it, even if companies put it, I mean, if you are good at UI work and that is really your strong suit, you are a person who's trying to build the UX strength. And if you as a package just fits in really well for my team, I wouldn't care if you have 0 experience or 10 years experience. Okay? There are enough companies which will make it work. So let's just throw that away. Second, coming to I think another big takeaway from this whole session I would love to make is being true to our own story. So some people might be very, very conscious about their own journey, whereas some are not, which is totally fine. But for those who are very, very conscious, you don't have to, like Vidhi, you don't have to beat in the bush to, again, trying to fit in, right? You be very authentic to who you are today. If you are a good UI designer, tell that story, show how you are a good visual designer. If you want to also balance it with not balance, but I would say tell the story that, hey, I'm a great UI designer, or visual designer, and I'm becoming a good UX designer. Your work should, your portfolio pieces should reflect just that. It doesn't have to be anything else. Also, there are many companies who will hire people for who they are, right? Like, for example, I'm looking for, I'll tell you the story of Hans again. Hans, if you are okay, if that's not an issue, but it's a very authentic issue. Example. So we are looking for a lead product designer, all right? And lead product designer is, like, in simple terms, is supposed to be a person who's great at everything, like, for lack of a better term, everything. But Hans was a great candidate who was really, really good at problem solving. In my, I would say, mind and for the team, I ended up creating the lead UX designer position. And that's not saying that Hans doesn't have great UI skills. He has already, and he will quite soon. Given enough time, he'll become a great lead product designer, complete package. But he was able to tell his story very, very well and able to share how he is a great problem solver really, really well. For that, I was motivated enough to just create that position and rethink the kind of team I'm trying to build. yes, some companies like Amazon won't be able to do that, but who cares? In India, there are plethora of opportunities, companies of all shapes and sizes. So being fiercely authentic to who you are, and there's a very fine line, being fiercely authentic to yourself and your journey, and knowing what you're capable of and not capable of, versus fitting in or being complacent. There's a fine line. But if you are conscious, the kind I feel with you are, just stick with your story, be authentic. You'll find the best place. And in that place, there will be enough room or enough time and enough room for you to become a complete UX designer if that's what you want to be. Does that answer your question, Vidhi?
Hello. Yeah, it does. So
Awesome.
I think I'll put myself a bit of an all-rounder, but then I'll push the visual part a bit more, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Be true to yourself. Yes.
Thanks, Vidhi. I think, Ashish, we have slightly overshot our time.
We did, yeah.
Thanks a lot for this session. I think this was super interactive, and you helped us by putting together the takeaways yourself. So thanks a lot for that. And thanks, Utkarsh, as well, for coordinating the session, and everybody
Thanks, everyone.
off on the weekend.
Yeah, thanks a lot, everyone. And yeah, so as Asis said, so in case if you want to reach out to him, so you can definitely go to his website or maybe on LinkedIn and send him a request. And second way around could be, since you guys would be registered on ADP, and I believe Asis, Devki, and me, all of us are there as well. So let's say if you want to book up a time slot, you can definitely go up there, book up a time slot with him, and then have one-to-one sessions, because it's always beneficial to have one-to-one sessions. Maybe you have got a doubt cleared, so that you can actually get it followed up later with Asis or whatever questions you might have later on. Yeah.
Agree. Yeah. All right. Yeah, this was a great session. Thanks for the participation, everyone. Like, this is, kya bolte hain? It's a handshake. So I raised my hand, but you guys met it. So fantastic. Yeah, excited. Be authentic to yourself. Have a great journey. Your journey is going to be fun. Not all fun. 50% fun, 50% pain, but mostly fun. So yeah, have a great time doing that.
Awesome. That was helpful. Thanks a lot, everyone. See you soon.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Yeah, good night. Thanks a lot. Bye.